and welcome to another episode of Bold and Beautiful. Thank you for joining me. Look, if you have not gone over to YouTube to hit the like and subscribe button on my channel, then go ahead and do it. What are you waiting for? It's at Bold and Beautiful Life, and you can find that on YouTube. Just hit that @ sign, hit the button, hit that like button, share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers. They're gonna love it. And you can also find me on all major podcast platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Let's see, all the major platforms at Kia Cordeaux and Bold and Beautiful. If you hit bold, the and sign, beautiful, you'll find me. And of course, social media, Facebook and Instagram. And then of course, you can go to my website at kiacordeaux.com. So this month, it's Women's History Month, and we are going to talk about women's history, of course, because it's March. So take a listen as we share a little bit about some iconic women. So it's Women's History Month, and I have to tell you, we have some of the most iconic women in history that have been represented and just exist in the fabric of our lives and our society, in American society, all over the world, internationally, globally. And as we celebrate Women's History Month, I just want to think about all the contributions that women have given in business, in the entertainment industry, in literature, as activists and politicians, and so many more, as athletes, really in every field imaginable. Women have been content to stay in the background when necessary, but then when it's necessary, of course, to be clear and upfront, speaking out for all people, all women, men, for children, for speaking out for things that are right and that are just they're passionate about. And I've never been more proud to be a woman than I am in 2024. So we are strong, we are sensitive, empathetic, bold, beautiful, wise, and soft when we need to be, but bold and hard when we need to be, when the situation requires it. And I love that. And I think for me, that has been just a rewarding part of my personality and my sense of passion and purpose that both of my parents have instilled in me. I have to thank both of my parents. I definitely get that boldness from my dad, but that soft, nurturing, sensitive side from my mom. And then also, my mom tends to be shy sometimes, but also that, when there is something to fight for, my mom is the first to stand up and say, no, this is right. This is the law. This is what we're going to do. This is what needs to happen. She will fight for the underdog. And I love that about her. So as I was thinking about some iconic women, I said, my goodness, I have to start with my grandmothers because they are phenomenal. They have been phenomenal. They've all both gone on to be with the Lord. But so when I think of them, I had to think about the things that I've learned from them. My grandmother on my mother's side, very tough woman. And so I wouldn't say that she was gentle or fun-loving, but she taught me love through sacrifice. And all of her children could attest to that, I think. They knew how challenging her life was as they were growing up. And from what I understood and from what I saw as a little girl, they respected her and they honored her for it. When my mother was 13, my grandmother left South Carolina. Originally, she was going to visit family in Philadelphia, but she ended up staying when she realized that she could really make a living and make money and be able to send that back home to help support her family, her 9 children. Her husband, my grandfather, was back in South Carolina running the farm, and he was a sharecropper. And his mother, my great-grandmother, was home with my mother's older siblings, taking care of the younger ones. And my grandmother was, during that time, my grandmother was in Philadelphia working. And her goal was to send all of her 9 children to college. And boy, she worked really hard. She'd only had an 8th grade education. When her mother died, she was young and she had to leave school and take care of her siblings at the time. And, she sacrificed everything, but she didn't give up. And that has been always so amazing to me. Her name was Fannie Mae Pygott. And she was short, but powerful. She must have been, oh my goodness, 4'11". My grandmother was so short, maybe 5'1". But she was powerful, powerful, strong woman. Well, she ended up staying in Philadelphia, and she'd send money and she'd send clothes back home to make sure my mother and her siblings were going to school. And she'd always wanted to be a nurse, so she later had gotten her GED and became a practical nurse until she had a car accident and wasn't able to work as much as she had been. But her goal was to send her kids to college. And her oldest sibling, my mother's oldest sibling, rather, my Aunt Edna, was an elementary teacher, so she went to college. And while her twin, my Uncle Sonny, was drafted into the war when he was young, he must have been 16, and so he was drafted into World War II. And when he returned, he finished his education, got his high school education, went to college and became a veterinarian and opened up his practice in California. And so they've had such a rich life, and there's so many stories. Out of 9 children, there are a lot of stories to tell. I've got a lot of cousins, hopefully, that I'll get to have on the show, because they are amazing, amazing men and women, and I'm so thankful for my family. But my mom, of course, went to South Carolina State College and later became an elementary school teacher as well. A high school teacher, she's kind of taught all the grades, and I think she loved preschool the most. And incidentally, I'm a teacher as well. That was not my first choice, but it was in my blood, apparently. So anyway, my grandmother on my father's side of the family she was a beautiful woman, classy woman. She was a seamstress. She learned how to sew as a child and how to be independent. And I can say that that's a couple of things that she taught me was to always look good, because that's who you're to be independent, to be strong, to look good. She always had her Sunday hat, and I've got a couple of her hats for safekeeping and just for memories. So, and some of her pearls. So she would have on her Sunday hat and her pearls. She always looked good. And some of the things I remember about my grandmother is just having that garden and being able to cook. Both my grandmothers could cook, which is awesome. But that didn't diminish their womanhood. They were strong, and they taught their children skills and the knowledge to be successful in the world. Those traits were passed down to their children, my parents, and to me, of course, and then down to my children. And I'm sure that my children will be able to pass them on as they have their kids. So, other famous women, there's so many, but a couple of people came to my mind when I thought of this episode. I thought of Sojourner Truth. I will forever recall the details of Ain't I a Woman? Of her Ain't I a Woman speech, spoken in 1851 in Akron, Ohio. And I love the premise of this. I'll share some clips or some shorts probably on my YouTube channel so that you can take a listen to. I think Kerry Washington does a great job of Ain't I a Woman. She says, let me see, I don't think I can do it like Sojourner or quite like Kerry Washington, but she says, that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me, look at my arm. I've plowed and I've planted. I've gathered into barns and no man could head me. Ain't I a woman? And then that little man over there, man in black, he says women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Well, where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? He came from God and a woman. Man didn't have nothing to do with that. Yes! Give it up for Sojourner Truth. So, ain't I a woman? So go ahead, all the women in the world. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Let's see, other women who have been amazing. I thought of women, I had to go to the Bible. So thousands of years before, to Deborah. Deborah in the book of Judges. You can read more about her in Judges 4. And she says this to the man who is supposed to be in charge. She said, he comes knocking on her door, and Deborah, I'm going to need your help. And she says, let it be known that your enemy, Sisera, was handed to the hands of a woman. And she went out to fight. She went out to lead the children of Israel out of captivity, Canaanite captivity, into victory. That's Deborah. Read about her in the book of Judges. And then, of course, we've got to go to Mary, the mother of Jesus. And you think about her, who can imagine such an opportunity that she did not miss? And I can think in my life of so many opportunities that I miss, like, I miss that, and you can't regret it. You just say, God, I'll take the next opportunity. If you present it, Lord, I'm not going to miss it, right? But Mary, the angel of the Lord came to Mary and said, you're going to have a child, and his name is going to be Jesus, and he's going to save the whole entire world. He's going to save people from their sins. Can you imagine her thought? She says, okay, God, as a young girl, be it unto me. Whatever you say, I'm going to believe it. What faith Mary had. And I love that. Can you imagine? Can you picture Joseph's face when she said, Joseph, I know we're supposed to get married, but an angel of the Lord visited me, and I'm pregnant. Can you imagine when she received that promise of a son, God's only son, Jesus Christ? She nurtured and raised him as a sacrifice for all. What sacrifice? What bravery? What courage? In the face of society, in the face of her soon-to-be husband, who, of course, got on the bandwagon because he heard from the Lord as well. So I definitely don't want to diminish men, but Ben, you'll have your day. We'll talk about you during Father's Day. Just kidding. Men are extremely important. But it's Women's History Month, and ain't I a woman? So we're going to talk about women, okay? So I hope to speak with some amazing women during the rest of this month who will just share their stories, share their contributions to their community, to their family, to their friends, to to the world, and their bravery, some of the challenges that they've been through. So I hope to share that with you in the next several weeks as we celebrate Women's History. Look, no matter who you are a contributor to our society. You are. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. Your community needs you. Your family, your friends, they need you, and you are important. So never doubt that, wonderful woman. Every day, be bold and beautiful because God's got you. Tune in next time. Thank you for watching.